everyone, how you doing today? My name's Kirsty, aka Beth Bookish, and on today's video I am bringing you yet another stack of books I'm probably not going to read for the very first TBR of 2025. As with December's TBR, I have played Ren's Demon Trap game. In terms of my December TBR, I can't really say I succeeded in reading all the books. Or any, really. To the point I can't even remember what books I had on that TBR. So we're just very quickly on my phone. I'm gonna go through now and just check what books I had. I know at least one of them. I've started. So for favourite trope, we had Master of Death by Olivia Blake. I have started that and I do plan on finishing that in January, so I'm hoping that I can get that onto this TBR. Gallant, I had meant to read last year, was Gallant. I read this, I gave it 4.5 stars. I had a fantastic time. It was really atmospheric. It gave me the gothic vibes that I was after. And yeah, if you want to see my full thoughts, please do check out my December wrap up that should be going live any day now. And I also read my library pick, which was the Tea Dragon Society, and I gave that 5 stars. It was so wholesome, so cute. And please do check out my cozy wholesome reads video that will be, again, either already up or up very soon, where I will be discussing it in more detail and recommending it along with other books that I think you should read for that cozy, wholesome, sort of wintry vibe. So this month I'm doing things very slightly differently. As well as playing Ren's game, I will also be doing the TBR gate. Last month I chose from the character cards and I only read graphic novels and manga using those prompts. I'm sticking with the graphic novel and manga for the TBR gate cards, only this time instead of the character cards I will be drawing episode cards. And I have said to Ren that I will try the episodes that those cards are in, and Ren is very happy that I've chosen to do that. I don't think there's anything extra. Obviously, with it being the start of the year, I would like to pick a book that's going to be like my first read of the year. That's kind of my tradition. I hit midnight on the 1st of January and I start my first book of the year, so I'm going to be continuing by doing that. We're going to Perth, so I have to like take at least one book and one manga so I can start my manga journey for the year as well. And I have a few books that I would like to try and get on there. There's some from last month that I really do want to get to. We've got Where the Dark Stands Still I would like to get to. I definitely want to get to Butcher and Blackbird. Masters of Death, because I've already started it, I want to continue it, so I'd like to get that on there. And then I've also got a couple that I didn't pick last month that are on Ren's shelves that I'm still very interested in, including Silver Under Nightfall by Rin Chapeko. And I've still got my final book for the compatibility video that's like Ren's favourite books, and that is The Boy from the Mish. I've still got to try and get all of those on, as well as various others. So we're going to see how we go. It's going to be chaotic. I also still have the Arrow books for A Romantic Affair, because that is in January, and I've still not finished any books for it. And the vlog for that is looking pitiful right now, so it's just going to be a crazy month. As always, let's just get to the board, let's do our pulls and find out what books I'm going to be reading. Right, okay, here is our board. I don't have Ren here for commentary this time, so they're going to find out at the same time as you what I get. So, our demon. Who are we going to be trapping in January 2025? We have... Ooh! Okay, the demon was nice to us again this month. We have Ruby, a colour in the title, so Ruby is who we're going to be trapping. Who is going to be trapping her? We have... Ooh, my girl, my baby, Charlie! LGBTQIA plus female or femme. Let's just pop Charlie here for now. What is she going to be creating her trap with? Very few options for this one, so I want to go with this one. Oh, she's going to carve it, which is a textured cover. And she will be placing her demon trap on or in a bullet. So under 200 pages. This is a very female hefty board. I am liking this. Girl power. Now it's time to draw my 5 sigils. The first one is going to be a random letter generator. The second one is one of last month's picks, which is new release. Our third one will be seasonal. Okay. Number 4 is going to be a genre spinner wheel. Thankfully, I have one of those. And number 5, finally, we have next in series. Okay, cool. And then, as I said, for TBR Gate this month, I will be doing the episode cards rather than the characters to give myself a bit more of a challenge, and also I've promised Ren that I will actually watch the episodes that I pull. The very first one of these is going to be... Ha! Hilariously, that is amazing. The very first episode... start a series. So for graphic novel and manga, I will be starting a series, which is fantastic because in January I like to start series. Okay, those are my picks. Now it's time to go and hunt down some books. Okay, so I had 2 that I need to do spinner wheels. One was a genre picker, which I have here. I have my own genre picker that I've done. The other one was a random letter generator, which I don't have, but I will just, you know, Google that one. So, genre picker, let's find out what I'm going to read. Okay, we have other, so that means for this, historical, horror, thriller, crime, anything kind of like that that's not already in the wheel. So I think I've got an idea what I could do for that. I can see one that I think will fit, even though it is also a romance, it kind of falls more into horror thriller. So let's see. And then for our random letter generator, I've got it up here. And I'm going to do it 3 times and take the third. So 1, 2, oh, P. We have P for that one, which is great because one of the books on my list starts with a P, so that's actually perfect. So yeah, those are the only ones that I needed to do. So now I'm going to pick some books and I'll be back soon with my choices. Okay, it's about an hour later. I'm now very hot, very stuffy. It's suddenly gone, we've had a couple of really cool days and now it's gone hot again and it's like gross. So gross. But anyway, you've seen the pulls. Let's find out what books I've chosen. And we're starting with our demon, which was Ruby, a colour in the title. I knew what I was picking for this. I'm also going to have to try and find an audiobook for this because I don't really want to read a 500-page book next month just by reading it. I need help with the audiobook, but that is Silver Under Nightfall by Ringe Pecco. This, I believe, is a vampire book. I know it's queer because it was in a queer book subscription that Rem used to be part of. It says it's undoubtedly queer with many callbacks to the history of vampire stories. And there is polyamory in here. I've heard really good things about the first one, not so many great things about the sequel, so I am nervous about this one, especially as I have previously read a Ringe Pecco book and wasn't overly impressed. I think at the time I gave it 3 stars, but if I was to read it again now, it would probably be more of a 2. So I am slightly nervous, but I'm hoping with it being more of an urban fantasy and that paranormal, it's going to be more my cup of tea. And like I said, I am going to have a look and see if I can find the audiobook of it to kind of help me get through it without necessarily having to sit and read it all, because it does have very small writing as well and it takes up a lot of page. So yeah, that is my pick for my demon and colour in the title. Then for the person drawing the sigil, we had Charlie, one of my favourite characters in the entire show, and it was an LGBTQIA plus femme, and I've doubled this one up with a new release, so any book that is a new release, aka for me released in the year that I've pulled the cards. And as of filming, we are still just in 2024, which means I could pick any 2024 release, and for this I have picked The Spider and Her Demons by Sydney Koo. This is one that I picked up at Oz Asia Festival when I went to the Weekend of Words and met Vanessa Len. I also met Sydney Koo. I got this book signed by them. Ren was the one that originally wanted this. the way they talked about it, it got me excited for it, and hearing Sydney talking about this book and what it entails made me even more excited. So we've decided to do a buddy read of this. Admittedly, we've been kind of saying we're going to do that since November, and we haven't yet, but it's been very busy, so we're allowed to be excused for that one. But our first read of the new year is going to be a buddy read of this, if everything goes to plan. We then had another double up that I've chosen to do, which was the bullet, which is where the sigil and the trap is being placed. And I've doubled this up with the random letter generator, which came out as the letter P. And for this, I've gone with A Prayer for the Crown Shy by Becky Chambers. This is another one that I probably will take with me to Perth because it's quite short, sweet. I can get it finished quite quickly. And not only will that start my year off with finishing a book very early on, but also finishing a series very early on, and I'm extremely eager for that to happen. So this is a sequel to A Psalm for the Wild Built, and it just continues the adventures of Mosscap and Brother Dex, and I'm very eager to get to this. I'm not going to say much because obviously I don't want to spoil anything for the first book, but if this one turns out to be as sort of philosophical as the first book, I think I will enjoy it. But I'm also worried that it might go a bit too far with that, so we shall see how I get on. But I was pleasantly surprised by the first book, so I am excited to get to this one. And then we just have our sigil cards remaining, as well as my TBR gate card. For the first one I got is textured cover, and thankfully I've managed to put on Masters of Death by Olivia Blake, which, as I said, I have started. I am 33 pages in. I've read the first couple of chapters. I'm enjoying some elements of this, not enjoying others. I'm really loving the character of Death in particular and his banter with his adopted son, but I don't like how it feels like Olivia is trying to overwrite, and it does feel like I've got no issue with people using big fancy words, but when it sounds like you're deliberately trying to sound really intellectual and really in-depth with those kind of writings, that's when I start to feel like this is someone who's just being a snob. And that kind of is how the writing feels here. It feels a little bit elite and almost like the book is trying to be more intellectual than the topic of the book is actually needing. I don't know. I need to keep going and find out, but it is definitely giving me that kind of look at me trying to be super smart and super intellectual when I don't need to be kind of vibe. Had a slight interruption just to go and say hi to Ren's brother. So the next one gave me a bit of a headache, and that was the seasonal pick. I tried to find a book set in either summer or winter, because obviously here it's summer, at home it's winter. And the first two books in a row that I picked up, one was October, one was November, and I was like, ugh! So Ren was like, well, if you want, you can just pick a book that gives off any seasonal vibes. And I immediately went back to my first pick, which I mentioned earlier in this video is one that I wanted. And that was The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. Not only does this give very autumnal vibes, you can just see there it is autumnal, it's also set in October. And I've been wanting to get to this for quite a while. It's another one I'm probably going to try and find the audiobook for. I think it's in keeping with the cozy fantasy stories that I've been really loving lately, and so this is just another one that I've been wanting to get since I saw it, I think at Yalk. Is this 2022? Yes, I saw this at Yalk and wanted it, so it's been 2 years that I've been kind of wanting to get to this. So it's about time. The next one was my genre wheel picker, and as you saw I got other, which means things like sci-fi, thriller, crime, anything like that. And I have gone with a technically dark romance, but as Ren has said, it's so dark romance, it's basically a thriller crime. It's also one from last month that I'm putting back on the TBR because I do want to get to it before I leave, and that is Butcher and Blackbird by Bryn Weaver. Basically, one serial killer and one person who has killed someone who end up having a bigger, badder person coming after both of them, so they end up teaming up, and in the process a really dark, warped and messed up romance occurs. But this is essentially horror, thriller, crime all mixed into one. So I am counting that rather than calling it a romance because I need a win. The final one for Demon Trap, it was the next in series, and again I've got a book that I have started in December and I want to get finished before I leave, especially as it's also a library book so it needs to go back, and that is This Wicked Fate by Callum Bayron. I am only the first chapter in, so I'm only 20 pages in. it didn't quite suck me in immediately the way the first book did. So I think it was because I tried to read this immediately after Gallant and I needed something sort of as a palate cleanser in between. So now that I've had a couple of palate cleansers, it's time to get back into that kind of family lineage gothic secrets kind of thing, and then add in poisons and stuff. But again, this is one that I'd like to finish because again, that would be another series finished very early in the year, which is perfect for my finishing 5 series goal. So maybe I can even up it to 10 series, who knows? And from the next and last in series, we then got the most, I could not have, even if I tried, I could not have got a better pull than I did, where I pulled for the TBR gate and I told myself that if it was any episode that wasn't in the first series, I just wasn't going to watch them and I was only going to watch episodes for the first series. And then what did I pull? It's episode 1. The very first, 1 times 1. The very first episode. I could not have planned that if I tried. So that means that it's from finishing series to starting a series, and as you know, the TBR gate cards are all focused on manga and graphic novels. For this I've chosen I'm Kinda Chubby and I'm Your Hero by Nore. This is you've got Ponjiro is a rookie actor trying his best to land a breakout role. He fears that his weight stands in the way of his dreams. One day he gets some unexpected fan mail full of sweets. The package came from Konosuke, a local pastry chef. Ponjiro has his first fan. Someone is supporting his work and giving him new confidence to face the stage with. It just is a queer romance with plus size rep and I'm really looking forward to it. I know Ren's loved this series, so I'm really hoping that I'm going to love it. And it is only 2 books, so I should be able to start and finish that pretty quickly as well. So those are all of the books that I've chosen. There are a lot, not as many as last month, and they're not as chunky as last month, so it's a slightly less intimidating stack. I do still have some of the library books that I've not yet gotten to. Some of them I did decide that were a bit more of a whim, so I have put those back. A couple I've now just got on my when I get home. I would like to try and get a hold of them. So yeah, this is the stack for January. I'm quite happy with this. If I get all of these done, it will finish a few series and it will get some of my most anticipated off the shelves. I'm excited. I will be doing this game once more in February, but the books that I choose in February will probably be books that I know I've got at home rather than Ren's books, because I'm not going to be in the country for any of February. I can't wait to start my new year of reading. Like I said, I've gone with 75 books this year, so I do need to get a head start as early as I can, because inevitably I'm going to have the mid-year slump that I always go through, but I hope that I can try and keep a more balanced trajectory going. So those are my books. Let me know in the comments if you've got any books that you're excited to get to in January, and if you've picked out the first book that you want to read for the new year, what is it going to be? But in the meantime, I hope you're all good. I hope you're staying safe. Please don't forget to check out my Patreon and my Etsy, and I will see you on the next video. Bye!